Hi, everyone. Tony from Hack the Movies here, and today we're going to talk about Idle Hands, that really funny comedy you watched in the 90s and probably forgot about, and then turned it on again and went, wow, this is still really good. Today, I'm talking about tapes.
Talking about tapes.
Here we are in a seedy hotel room in Tampa, Florida, filming on 2 GoPros and a camera. Who knows if any of them will last throughout the whole recording.
Crossing fingers.
Yes, on a couch that has been
God
very,
knows what's happened on this
very,
couch.
very used.
It's a little crunchy.
I'm gonna get tested after this episode.
Yeah, most definitely.
With a strange woman who the audience is unfamiliar with. Who are you? Properly introduce yourself. Properly introduce yourself right now.
Hello, my name is Sara. I'm a professional cosplayer from Florida. Me and Tony, we've been talking for a few months, and I dragged him over to Spookala, and we decided that we were going to do an Idle Hands review. So now I am here in this strange hotel room on this very strange couch, and now we're going to talk about Idle Hands. How exciting.
It's the camera's not doing it justice. It's a pretty girl. Like,
yeah, it's...
It's not doing it justice.
Not at all.
This feels like a 2010 That Guy with the Glasses crossover. They used to do crossovers in like hotel rooms all the time. Anyway, Sarah, we're talking about Idle Hands.
I absolutely adore
This
Idle
is
Hands.
your favorite movie, right?
It's one of my favorites. I love it.
Sarah, this question I'm going to ask you for the first time is very important. When did you first see this movie?
So I first saw Idle Hands about, I think, a good 8 years ago. It's been a hot minute.
Okay.
I don't know why I gave such a specific number. I don't know why I do that when people ask me, like,
That's fine. No, that's
when
fine.
I
That's
see
fine.
movies, I give like a very specific number.
Okay.
That's just how I remember stuff. But I got it on physical media.
Okay.
That's probably why I remember. I got it on physical media because I had found it at a thrift store.
Okay.
And I still have the original, like, one that I'd found. And the cover was interesting, and I was like, oh, stoner horror comedy.
Did you not know this movie existed?
I had heard about it. I just had never really watched it.
Okay.
And I was like, well, I'll give it a try. And I watched it, and I fell in love with it. And the soundtrack, absolutely amazing.
It's good. It's good.
Loved the soundtrack. And I've loved it ever since.
Nice. I remember when they were advertising this in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And when did this come out?
1999. It was right after Columbine.
Why would you bring that up?
The reason I bring that up, I
Okay.
know, this was a horrible segue. The reason I actually bring that up is because it actually really ruined the money that it brought in.
Because the high school killing.
Yes,
Oh,
and I
okay.
actually
All right, so it made sense, YouTube, okay? It made sense.
a congressman actually mentioned the movie by name during like one of the I guess during some type of meeting or whatever, talking about violence and movies and video
the 90s.
games.
We've circled back to it, but the 90s were pretty
Yes.
big with the violence and video, game shit.
Yeah. So during that whole thing,
Yeah.
very prevalent. And the movie Idle Hands was mentioned by name, and
Okay.
that really ruined it. Marketing was kind of pulled out.
Which is funny because I remember the marketing for this movie.
Yeah, it really ruined it. I believe it was pulled out of theaters a little bit early. If I might be wrong. So
Okay.
I might not be correct about that information.
Well, I
but
hope you are because I didn't do a lot of research into the making of. So I hope you are right.
I might, yeah, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I do know that even though it really has nothing to do with anything related to Columbine,
There are kids being killed in the dance at the end, which is funny because we just did Buffy the Vampire Slayer not too long ago.
Yeah.
And they toned down, like she was originally supposed to burn down the gym at the end of that movie, and
yeah.
they changed it.
yeah.
Okay, so I didn't know that. But yeah, I remember the commercials very vividly. I thought this movie looked awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Idle Hands. The touching story of a boy and his hand.
Didn't see it in theaters. I was a little young. I was seeing like R-rated stuff in theaters, but like for whatever reason, I couldn't get to that one. And then I watched it on cable like a few years, like premium cable, so nothing cut out.
Oh, nice.
Like
the
a
good
year,
cable.
yeah, a year or two later, and I really, really liked it. I dug it. I loved the humor in it. It was different than things I had seen before. And then the funny thing is, I've only maybe watched it like 2 or 3 times in my entire life.
See, I've seen this movie good maybe 20 times.
The last time I saw this movie was probably before your first time seeing the movie.
Probably.
It's been a very long time. But upon rewatching it, I was kind of shocked that I remembered almost all of the movie. Like, every time a new scene started, like, it's scenes I hadn't thought about in years. I'm like, I know what's about to happen next.
I will say, I love this movie, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it's not an in-depth movie. You know what I mean?
No, and it's not trying to be.
Exactly. Like you don't have to think hard to get the movie.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, it's a movie. You sit down, you get high, and you watch it. And it's easy to understand, and it's fun.
Well, I didn't get high. Drugs are bad.
And
And
don't
you
do
shouldn't
drugs.
do them. And I always say that on this show. Yes, you don't take the movie seriously. But yeah, we should probably... Well, who directed this film?
Oh, yes. So the director is Rodman Flender.
Okay.
Yes, Rodman Flender.
Yeah.
Flender.
Yeah, who I think is more of a TV guy these days.
Yes.
Directed a lot of TV, but he also directed an indie movie that I like, the Eat Brains Love.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty recent.
Yeah, that was a pretty
Like
fun movie.
2017?
Yeah, 2017-ish,
2017,
yeah. That was a fun one. I know he directed like a couple episodes of Scream.
Yeah, the MTV.
Yeah,
Scream.
the MTV one, yeah. Yeah, who did he write this also? Who wrote this?
I would have to. I can fact check it. I'm not sure. Actually.
What? No, we don't fact check things. We know things off the top of our heads.
I know he directed it, but I'm not entirely sure if he wrote it.
Real quick, what's that over there?
Oh.
Oh, it must have been nothing. I know who the writers are. Clearly, it's Terry Hughes Burton and Rob Milbauer.
Oh.
You know them. The one wrote Alphas, and the other one produced The Handmaid's Tale. We all know that.
Yeah.
We all know that. We never forgot that detail.
Yeah, I had it written down here. I just couldn't read it.
We were distracted by whatever was outside that window.
It was super cool. I'm sad you missed it.
But yeah, this movie stars.
Oh, yes. So it stars Seth Green, Eldon
Yes.
Henson, Devon Sawa, and Jessica Alba, and Vivica A. Fox.
Jesus Christ, Jessica Alba in this.
Oh, Jessica Alba.
This
She
this
is-
might have been Dark Angel definitely, but this was like this is my first exposure to like a very dressed down Jessica Alba, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit.
I love her.
And Devon Sawa, I believe we saw him today,
Yes, we did. He was absolutely lovely. He was very sweet.
and you were dressed as Seth Green today.
I was.
You didn't
yeah.
do it for the review.
I know, I didn't. I was
And you
covered
didn't
in
even have the
latex.
poster. You had the Idle Hands poster. We could have put it right there.
I know. I'm so disappointing. I'm sorry.
So yes, they're
Insert
all in
photo
it.
here.
So at this point, I was on board with Seth Green. I loved him as Scott Evil.
Yes.
Eldon Hansen, I wasn't too familiar with. He's gone on to be in like Daredevil and
Yes,
stuff.
in
yeah.
Hunger Games.
Yeah. Daredevil and Hunger Games.
Mighty Ducks.
Okay. Oh, that's right. He is in the Mighty Ducks.
Butterfly Effect.
Yeah. And that's it. That's all the movies he's ever done and shows
But he's
ever
lovely.
done.
He's very lovely. I met him before. He's very sweet.
Oh, wait. I remember another show he was in. Jessica Jones. That's the same character from Daredevil.
Oh, yes. Yes.
But yeah, and then Devon Sawa, of course.
Devon Sawa, yeah. Casper, Chucky, the TV
The TV series. He
SLC
plays like
Punk.
5 people in Chucky.
Yes, he plays a priest. He's now the president.
I
and
didn't
he-
watch the season. I didn't finish last season.
I haven't even seen the first episode from the new one, so
Oh, I didn't finish last season. I got to get around to that.
well, you need to watch it. He plays a hot priest, and I like that.
Well, I don't know why you had to point out that he was a hot priest. Shouldn't sexualize men of the cloth, okay? Anyway, sorry about that. This is a very wholesome show. I have some comment about Vivica A. Fox storyline.
Ooh, okay.
But yeah, we'll get into it. Let's go through the movie here. Okay, so the movie starts off with Fred Willard, the late Fred Willard.
Icon. I literally read. I have in here Fred Willard icon.
Yeah.
he is amazing.
I do like Fred Willard.
Rest in
Goddamn.
peace.
Now, like after he died, I'm like, man, that guy was so good.
He was in so much stuff.
I'm so glad he got to be in I Think You Should Leave.
Yes.
the best sketch comedy show on TV or Netflix right now.
My condolences.
So he's in bed with his wife. They're talking about their son, Anton.
The room is so fucking ugly in this. It gives me a headache. The orange walls, like the floral. I think I don't know. There's like green somewhere.
Yeah.
Their whole house makes no sense.
Yeah, their house is bizarre.
It's really weird.
And they go all out for
it
Halloween.
gives me a migraine.
Yeah.
Like, it's horrible. Every time I watch the movie, I'm like, who made this house? And like, I hate it.
It is a cool house. It is a cool house. But yeah, it's all decked out. They have dummies with pumpkins on them.
Oh, they go all out for Halloween.
But they're ready to go to sleep, and then they look up and they see written on the wall, "I'm under your bed." And you know what's actually funny? When this came on, I think I didn't realize I was watching Idle Hands when I first saw this.
Yeah.
I put it on. I remember just seeing this scene and being like, "What is this?" And then when I saw like the actors, and I'm like, "Oh, this is the hand movie."
It's the hand movie.
It's the hand movie. Yeah, so I love the "I'm under your bed." That was really, really creepy.
It's crazy, yeah. And then she gets pulled under. Well, no.
Well,
There's a little bit before that.
The dad dies. She goes to look for him. He's Deadsville. And then she goes to hide in her room, and she's calling for Anton.
Yes, she calls for Anton.
Yeah.
He doesn't answer. And then she goes back to the room, and then she dials 911. The slowest you could ever. She goes 911. It pisses me off every time.
And then the hand grabs her. I don't know what it does to her, but it the whole bed like shakes.
I don't care, but she kind of was asking for it. I don't care. Why did
You
she?
could have hit those numbers a little bit faster.
Like she. Like.
But then we get introduced to Anton, who was oblivious to all of this.
Yep.
He is such a stoner. He smokes out of his goddamn inhaler.
I honestly kind of want to.
Does he even have asthma? I think he's a faker.
Fuck no. That's just his excuse. I kind of really want to make that, like
Yeah.
recreate that. I think I heard on a podcast that one of Devin's friends has that.
Oh,
Like
that's
props
funny.
still.
That's funny.
But yeah, I think it's very funny.
But, he's tired. He needs to get stoned. So he goes over to his friend's house. He ignores Randy on the way.
Oh yeah, Randy. So Randy.
What about Randy?
So that he's played by Jack Noseworthy.
Yes.
And that character's pretty fun. The one thing I will say is his like theme song, I guess, is "Shout at the Devil" by Motley Crue, right?
Oh yeah. Because he's like into Satan.
Yeah. Satan, right? But the thing is really funny with this movie. I feel like they were super excited that they got the rights to the Motley Crue song because they use it, I believe I counted 7 times in this movie. And I just think it's really funny.
I'll have to fact check that and see if I play a Motley Crue montage.
They use it so much in this movie. It's comical. Like, it's a good song, but they just use it a lot. And I just always think it's really funny.
So yeah, he goes to Mick and Peanubs?
Penub.
Penub?
What
the fuck is...
I know, it's a weird name.
I thought they said Peanub at one point. It's a weird name. I never heard
I
of it.
always said Penub. But
So I love how they're also stoners, but even they think Anton is too lazy
Yeah,
and they're
they're
trying
like-
to motivate him. They're like, you don't even know about the dance coming
Like,
up?
what is
Like, when's the
wrong
last time
with
you went to
you?
school? So yeah, they're trying to motivate him, and Anton gets a glimpse at Jessica Alba.
Ooh la la.
And she drops her book.
Her lyrics book.
Yeah, and he like stalks her. He's like, she writes great lyrics, and she like just stares at her in class, I guess.
Devin is really fucking creepy in this movie.
He is so creepy. And I think Jessica Alba is like challenged mentally. She's a very odd.
She has Stockholm syndrome
She
or
has-
some shit.
She's just a very bizarre, like her reactions to everything.
Maybe she's like a true crime fan. And she's like really into like creepy men.
And honestly, actually, the funny thing is, to relate it to something we like, it feels like Twin Peaks season 3, where just for some reason, no one really calls attention to how fucking weird Dougie is. They're like, Dougie, you're acting a little bizarre today. I'm like, what do you mean bizarre? His brain is like melting. He's just mumbling. I'm like, none of you think this is weird?
Well, come on, guys. That's so funny. I will say this though.
Yeah.
When we were first introduced to Mick and Panub, I always think it's so funny how intensely dyed their hair is. Because Seth Green is a redhead. He's a ginger. And then I believe I think he's also a redhead too, but Seth, it's freshly dyed. It is just dark black, and his is like just dark red. I just think it's funny. It's like freshly dyed. But yeah, so Jessica Alba, she drops her lyric book. Yeah. And then he goes to get it. He borrows Panub's pants because he's wearing boxers.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So we got to remember, he's in Panub's pants.
And he crawled in through the window. He doesn't even come in through the house.
Why the fuck not?
So yeah, he goes to her house.
But he picks up the lyrics book and he sniffs it. It's so
book?
creepy.
It's not even like, ooh, she was wearing this scarf or something. He snipped the book.
He looks so creepy when he does it. Like, I love Devon Sawa, but I'm like, he looks so...
His character is supposed to kind of suck.
He looks so creepy when he does that.
It kind of works.
Like, I would fear for my life if I saw a man do that.
Sniffing a book?
No, I don't... Well, it's just like... He's just like creepy. I don't know.
Sniffing a book, I'd be really... Yeah. I'm freaked out by what you just did. Episode over. Holy shit.
What, sniff a book?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, it's creepy.
Yeah. But I like he goes to her house and he tries to get away. She opens up the door real quick. She's like, thank you for my book. Like she was expecting someone to give it to her. And he hits her in the tits with the book. He like slams her with the book. And she's like, oh, okay. Again, not going, ow, you asshole.
Like, what's wrong with you? She's like kind of into it.
And then he runs away like a coward. He like freaks out and runs away.
He's a total pussy.
And then we get the B plot, but you kind of forget it's in the movie where Vivica A. Fox is Debbie Liqueur. Liquor. No, it's Liqueur.
Liquor, I hardly know her.
We're introduced to her as a nun, and she's got a very holy book.
Yeah.
And she's going into prison where they found this killer.
Yeah, killer.
And she's there to exorcise a demon in him, but then we see his hand is all withered, and she's like, it's already gone.
Yeah.
So now we know that the killer is out there, and it's a hand. A demonic hand. I think she takes off her nun outfit.
I know,
her RV.
like right outside of the sheriff's office.
The hand's killing spree is making a pentagram.
Okay, the continuity of this pentagram is so like they really stretch it. Okay, like it barely makes a pentagram. Like it's the. I mean I think they did it on purpose to like make it. I just think it's funny. It barely makes a pentagram. Like they're really stretching it. But I love Vivica A. Fox in this movie. Yeah. I think both her and Jack Noseworthy, their characters are they overplay their characters.
Because I think their characters are I feel like they're just to like kind of pad the runtime and to be just like what solves the problem at the end.
Yeah.
But given these small parts that are kind of filler, they do a really good job of being memorable.
Like they could have done it wrong, but they did it right, and
they kind of have to be over the top because of the material they're given. And she's just like, I'm here to kill the hand. And he's like, I know about the devil, and I exist to tell her where the hand is.
Like, I am here to do a job. Like, but they do it good. It's funny.
But they have enough personality that it makes them stand out, so they're not just forgettable characters.
Oh, they're hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, some of the shit that they say is...
But I'm wondering if there was, like, an earlier draft where they're not in it. Like, what that might look like.
Yeah, if they were like, well, we need more characters.
Yeah, like, hey, this is running a little short. How do they stop the hand? This feels kind of like it was added. And it might not be. It might have existed the whole time. What do I know?
I don't know.
Do I look like some kind of fucking writer?
No.
Wow, thanks. I've actually written stuff. We'll get back to this. So the cops rough up Anton.
Oh, the cops. Yeah. So the scene where I wrote like so many notes about this one scene. So he goes into with like this fucking shopping cart, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like all foggy, because why not?
Yeah, why not?
I guess ambiance. And you can see where they put the fog machines.
Oh, you can?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't notice.
Oh, I'll show you. I'll like bring up a clip later.
Like, you're not editing this? You're not editing. Oh yeah, Sarah. When you're editing, leave a note for yourself. Apparently, to drop that.
Editor.
I have to now hunt this
Editor.
goddamn clip down.
Editor, I'll send you a clip. I'll send you a copy.
Oh, thanks for sending. Yeah, send me the movie. I got.
But I'll show you personally later because it's funny.
Okay.
But you can see where they put the fog machines, and it's just copious amounts of fog, and it's just I just think it's super funny. And then so the two cops that went to high school with Anton, they like confront him in this smoky, foggy alleyway,
Creepy alleyway,
really weird.
Because he
like
knows
Halloween Horror Nights.
Doesn't he know about the killer at this point? He was made aware of that there's a murderer.
Yes,
because
he doesn't know it's a hand, but because the Feldstein twins, or whatever.
Yeah, twins.
So they got iced or whatever.
Yes. And there's I know a fact about these cops that ties into a scene later that got deleted, and I only know it through my friend Cecil, but we'll get to it there.
Ooh, okay.
But yeah, they kind of rough up Anton. Because he tries to buy drugs off them. They're like, we're cops, you asshole.
Yeah, and they like search his pockets, even though they're not his pants, because they're Panub's pants.
That's right.
They take some money from him, and they find a baggie, even though there's nothing in the baggie. Oh no, they smell marijuana.
Yep.
And they throw the baggie on the ground, and they charge him for littering. I know, asshole cops.
But then he goes home. And he watches sexy ladies on TV.
Is it Pamela Anderson?
I don't know who it is.
It looks like Pamela Anderson, but it's Pig. It's Pig. I think that's a song. It's a good song.
I don't remember. I just remember he's watching it.
It's on my Spotify.
And he's making a sandwich, and I love that he doesn't realize the knife is just covered in blood.
The sandwich just grosses me out. It's not even the blood. It's the bologna and the massive amounts of mayo that this man puts on a
and him just
sandwich.
he's being so oblivious to what he's doing. He's like, boobs, boobs. Look, I like looking at boobs, but if I'm making a sandwich, I need to see and make sure I'm putting all the shit on the sandwich.
No, it's so nasty. Like, like a bologna and shit tons of mayo. So gross.
Do adults eat bologna?
Do adults?
This is a question.
Do grown men eat bologna?
Well, I know one grown man who eats bologna. And this is brought up a lot on my good friend Carl's podcast, Who Are These Podcasts? But stuttering John Melendez talks about making bologna sandwiches, and they make fun of him all the time. They're like, what kind of adult eats bologna? They're like, that's a meal for kids.
It is. It is a meal for kids.
I got nothing against bologna. I don't care. But yeah, so
I do.
He finally notices the blood, and he's like, what the fuck?
Oh, shit. And then there's like a tilt. There's like what's it called? What's that angle shot called?
Dutch angle.
Yes, Dutch angle. Thank you.
I know. I went to film school.
I went to film school.
I didn't get a degree, but I went to film school.
I went to film school. So there's like Dutch angle. Thank you. And I love it. And he realizes it. And then there's a shot of Bones, the cat, licking an eyeball.
I didn't like that scene.
I love that scene.
I turned the movie off.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens afterwards.
You got to fill in the rest
I'm
for me.
going to leave. Take off. I like that scene. So he's finally piecing together. He's like, oh my God.
He's like, oh shit.
There's a murder in my house. Is this where he finds his parents? Yeah, he finds his.
Yes.
Oh, wait. Before that, I love this scene where he thinks the killer's in the house and he scoots his dog to look for the killer.
So cute.
And it's like not a dog that's gonna take on a killer.
The dog also, I love the dog in this. The dog is adorable.
Yeah.
Like I think this dog is so fucking cute. But yeah, he literally like sacrifices the dog. He like pushes this poor dog. Yeah. And then and then he like goes down he doesn't go down the stairs, but like he like sees like a reflection of like what? It's either Panub or Mick.
I think so. It's one because they show up.
Yeah. And then
they're not even worried about the dead bodies of the parents who are now in the dummies.
Well, before then.
Okay.
I know that at one point he goes upstairs with the dog.
Yeah.
And they like hide under the covers. And that's super cute.
Yeah.
Because it's a cute little dog.
Yeah.
And then he's trying to find like the phone, and he accidentally presses the alarm. He gets scared, takes off the covers, sees the "I'm under your bed," and then that's when he goes down the stairs.
Yes,
trips on the umbrella.
Right,
and then sees
the dead parents.
Reflection.
The reflection.
It's something like that.
Well, whatever happens, Eventually, they show up, and they are more concerned with what's on TV.
Pop that coochie.
Yeah, they're more concerned with Pop That Coochie than they are the dead. Okay, let's.
Sorry.
This is a family show. It's a family show. God damn
I've
it.
said fuck so many times.
Why is it's just every? I just want a nice, wholesome girl on the show for once.
Sorry.
Are there any Mormons who want to be on the show? Please. Anyway.
Any Mormons? Go to Salt Lake City.
So they were like, oh my God. They're looking for clues. They find like a rip up piece of his shirt.
Before that,
Yeah.
Ella put up bangs on his father's chest.
Oh, to give him CPR.
And he's like, dude, that's my dad. He's like, I'm sorry, I saw it on Baywatch.
Yeah, but then there's like a scene later on. Oh, no. I thought, was it an ER? I thought he said ER.
But there is another. No, the
There's
first one is Baywatch.
Okay,
and
but
then
there
there's
is an
another
ER.
one. Oh,
Yeah.
where it's when he caught her.
Oh, yeah. And he's like,
Yeah.
haven't you ever watched ER?
Yeah, they make a lot of references to that.
Yeah. Everything 90s. Baywatch
Oh
and
my
ER.
god, yeah. There's a lot of 90s references. Like,
Look at
there's
the
they
ER
make an Enya reference.
Oh, that's right.
I'm like, Enya? What?
So I like that they find the ripped up shirt and then they see it's Anton. Which, by the way, he said earlier he hadn't seen his parents in a few days, so he has been wearing that shirt for a few days.
Yeah, also, like, how is he not concerned that his parents are just, like, not?
Because he's so
He doesn't give a
oblivious.
fuck.
He's so oblivious and lazy. But I love that Seth Green puts the shirt and he goes, the killer was wearing your shirt. And then, this was weird, so the glow-in-the-dark paint finally shows up on his hand.
And then the music kicks in. The killer was wearing me.
The killer was wearing me.
Do. And
Hold
then I
on.
like the shot of Eldon and Seth. It's like a POV shot.
Yeah.
I really like that shot. And at this point, from this movie on, from this point on, I wrote, because I was listening to the commentary track between Rodman, Seth, and Eldon.
Yeah.
And the lighting from this point on is actually really inspired by Suspiria,
Okay.
which one of my favorite movies besides this one. I love Suspiria. Love Dario Argento. But there's a lot of reds and greens, and some of the shots are some of the kills are directly in some of the shots are directly inspired by Dario Argento films.
Okay.
I mean, when we get there, I'll point them out.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to preface that. I just think that's
what's funny?
super interesting because I would never expect a stoner horror comedy to take inspiration.
From an Argento film.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? The only Argento film I've reviewed was on Patreon. We did Opera, which isn't even one of the really good ones.
Yeah.
I should do more Argento. I should do review Suspiria and the new Suspiria,
Tenebrae.
or maybe do the Three Mothers trilogy.
Tenebrae.
Huh?
Or Tenebrae.
Or Tenebrae. Is that part of the Three Mothers trilogy?
I mean, I just know it's a Dario Argento.
Yeah, he makes a lot of movies. Anyway.
Yeah. But yeah, so he's and then they're like, should I call 911? What's the number?
Oh yeah,
And
what's
then
the number for
and then
911?
Penup starts smoking more weed.
Yeah, but then he's in the kitchen and he confronts Mick, and he accidentally kills Mick
Yeah.
with a bottle, just shoves it right into his head.
And then the way that shot is filmed is apparently it's not referencing a kill from Tenebrae, but
Okay.
it's the way it's filmed is apparently a reference to a kill from that movie.
So when Seth Green just opens up the refrigerator, just get some space. And
Yeah,
Devin
right?
Sawa's acting with the hand is really, really good.
Yeah, so I believe you probably know this, but for you guys if you don't, Devin Sawa and the hand once it's not on Devin Sawa's body was played by Lord, I cannot remember his name for the
Wow.
life of me.
You're like, everyone knows this fact, and then you go, I don't know the fact.
No, listen, I do, but I just can't remember his name.
We're
I'm
gonna put
very
his name
sorry.
here.
Yeah, right here.
For the podcast listeners, the name was, and then I'll just
And then we'll
insert the
insert the
name,
name, yeah.
if I remember to do it.
So the guy who played Thing from Addams Family.
Oh, okay.
He was the guy who played the sentient hand.
Oh, well, he had experience.
Oh yeah, very good with his hands. Sorry, and I couldn't help myself. And he also trained, he also helped Devin Sawa, really make it its own character. And I think it's really interesting because compared to Thing from Addams Family, completely different.
Yeah.
Because Thing is very, kind of, funny and not this murderous.
Yeah, he's not, even though he lives with people who probably murder,
and-
he's not very murderous.
Yeah, but this demonic, fucking hand is terrifying.
I will say, him with the hand, it does remind me of Bruce Campbell in Evil Dead 2, and I'm sure that plate was partly...
Yes, and
this was inspired by that.
And I absolutely love Evil Dead 2.
The decapitation for Penub is really good.
I love it.
Like, even though, like, a lot of times with, like, 90s kind of digital composites, sometimes they look a little wonky. This one's pretty good. Actually, a lot of the scenes with him and his head actually look fine.
Yeah, I know like a majority of the movie was practical, but the stuff where they did use CGI, they did a really good job. Like for making it look seamless. Yeah. I think it was really good. Like, yeah, you can see like a little bit, but like whatever. So
he doesn't like his hand, probably because it killed his friends, and his hand does not like the cat.
Yeah,
it's just like the.
So yeah, he's watching TV and then he's trying to change the channels and he has like this. I love the physicality of Devon Sawa in this movie. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Yeah. I think he does a great job.
Tosses it all the way to Molly's.
Yeah,
that's why he goes to Molly's.
All the way over there, and that prompts the hand and him to go over to Molly's house.
And she's like inviting him in, and he's trying desperately not to murder her with the hand because the hand just wants to kill her, and she is super into him, even though he looks like he's strung out and tweaking out.
He looks like a meth head. Like he looks
if you walked in here like this the whole time, I'd be like, you need to leave. This isn't good. Please
I wouldn't let you into my house.
Yeah, I wouldn't let. She's like, oh yeah, come on in.
She's like super into it. She's like, you should come in.
And then he like starts accidentally choking her.
Oh. Before that, he grabs her ass.
Oh, right. And she's like, I didn't think you were.
She's like, I didn't think you had the balls to do that.
They would not write the character like that these days in a
I just think it's so
Hollywood film.
Like, she's just so into it.
I'm telling you, this character would not exist.
So stupid.
In a major Hollywood film these days, that would not fly. But yeah, she's very into everything that's happening, right down to the choking. Like, she seems taken like by surprise by the choking, but she's not 100% against it. So he finally is like, I don't want to kill her, but I need to get laid. He should be like,
to fuck her,
oh my God, my friends and parents are dead.
He does not.
And he's like, but it's Jessica Alba.
I'm gonna bang Jessica Alba. So they have to wait.
I mean,
I get it.
It's Jessica Alba.
I would also wait. Like, I get it.
Look, I love my parents, but it's Jessica Alba. So he ties up his hand.
And she's like, kinky.
Yeah, oh, you're kinky. I'm like,
are you fucking kinky?
I'm like, you think it's kinky for him to tie up just his one hand?
Like, why not both? Shit, why not tie up you, Jessica Alba?
Again, we need like a backstory where they go like, yeah, a few years ago she hit her
trauma.
I want them to be like, Molly's such a babe. It's a shame she hit her head on the diving board a few years ago to explain why she's
what did she go through to be this fucked up? Like, what's her trauma,
So then he buries his friends and his parents.
Yep, that's when the lighting is very Suspiria-esque.
And then he does pretty shitty eulogy.
Yeah.
But then he hears his friends talking. They're back. His friends come out of the ground. They're zombies.
It's super dramatic and it's super cool. I love how Penub comes up headless. I think it's super cool. It's really well done.
Yeah.
And then they knock him over the head with the shovel, knock him out, and then he wakes up next morning in his bed, headphones on, like nothing happened.
He thinks everything's fine. He thinks it was all a dream.
Yeah, he still has blood in his shirt, doesn't notice. Yeah. He goes downstairs. Mick and Penub are on the couch, chilling out, eating Cheetos. Yeah. And he's like, guys, I had the craziest dream. I thought I killed you guys, blah, blah, blah.
And they're just 100% zombified.
Yeah, Penub is headless. Eating Cheetos,
he's throwing Cheetos into his mouth.
Yep.
And I like this because when I first, I forgot. This is the one part I did forget. And then when they said the line, I was like, I remember how funny it was hearing that line the first time. Mm-hmm. But before I rewatched this, for some reason, I thought it was going to be like American Werewolf, where he's hallucinating his friends. Mm-hmm. I had that false memory, but no. The reason they're zombies is because they were going to heaven and they heard the Enya music and people saying, "Come to the light." And then they went, nah, that's lame.
Far.
Plus, it was really far.
That's so funny.
So they went back to their decaying bodies instead.
I'm like, valid.
I'm like,
So
what is this
funny.
universe that you can just opt not to go to heaven and just be a zombie forever?
And I'm like, that's so funny. And I just think the
Yeah.
every time I'm like the weird Enya reference. I always caught me off guard. I'm like, whoa, okay.
So in this scene, they try to convince him to go talk to Randy because Randy
Yes.
knows a lot about demon stuff.
yeah.
Because they
I
realize
just
now.
like how they assume
Yeah.
that like I'm like he just likes Quiet Riot and
Yeah.
like Motley Crue in his Ford. And I'm
So-
like, yeah, he's a devil worshiper.
Randy's talking to a girl at the memorial for the twins.
Who's in high school?
Yes. Oh, I forgot they found the twins' ears in like a bag of onion rings earlier.
And fun fact, I don't know if it was during production, but a few years later, they found out that the actress who played like whoever that Jack Noseworthy was hitting on, they're related, like they're sister and brother.
Oh, really?
Yes. 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 Like I wrote this down in my notes. Like they yeah.
That's awkward.
Yeah, crying girl is Jack Noseworthy's sister.
Oh man, that makes that
Just
scene
thought I'd
all
share
really
that.
awkward now.
Yeah.
But I like that she's like crying, but like it turns out she was really mean to the twins.
Like,
What did she say to them?
I told them to go blow each other or something.
So he's like trying to be there for her, but then he kind of gets blocked
He's like 25 or something,
Yeah.
and she's like 19.
He gets blocked
18.
by Anton, and he's very upset.
Well, because he comes up to them and he looks like he's like jacking it.
Yeah.
He's like, he looks like he's jacking it. And like, it looks really grotesque.
But I like,
Blocked him.
I like that Randy gets in his Ford and just like drives over the
so
memorial
mean.
that he was pretending to care about a minute
And
ago.
then shout the devil plays once again.
Yes. And then Anton breaks into the safari themed fast food place, dresses up
Yes.
as one of the employees, and like he's like put his hand at the meat
Oh, it's
and
so
everything.
gross.
And he just really wants information from Randy. So Randy tells him like, hey, you
Tell me
gotta
everything you know about the devil.
he's like, you gotta keep your hands busy. Idle hands are the devil's,
Devil's
playground.
playground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is a common expression. He's like, that's why I'm always on the working on the Ford. It keeps me out of trouble.
Yeah.
So he takes that to heart and he just starts knitting.
Yes. And I will say during the jungle restaurant, what's the I don't remember what
I
the
remember.
jungle-
I forget what it's called.
But during that scene, there's a cameo by Tom DeLonge
Okay.
from Blink-182. He's the blonde one that takes over the shift. So Devin Sawa comes in. He's like, oh, break time, and then he takes over the counter. So yeah, that's a Blink-182 cameo.
And then Rob Zombie kicks in. This is the only movie where you could watch a guy knitting with zombie friends while Dracula plays.
Damn right. That's why I love it.
And I love that.
And he
freaking
learned
song.
how to knit for this movie, apparently.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So the cops break in because they realize he's the killer.
Yeah.
And he realizes like, oh wait, I can get them to arrest me.
Yeah.
So
but
he's
he
like,
can't stop knitting.
He cuffed me, and they're like, stop knitting. He's like, no, I can't do
No,
that. Just
cuff
cuff
me.
me. Just cuff me. Just cuff me.
Oh, but also before that, the cops are like, they realize that there's two dead fucking people, but they're like talking.
Yeah.
And one of them shoots Panub in the head.
Oh yeah, and he's like, oh, we were gonna say turn yourself in, but fuck these guys.
Yeah,
kill
fucking
them.
kill them, like assholes. What the hell? Yeah. So there's that.
So he stabs the one through the ear, which was
Oh.
gnarly,
Ugh.
and then he gets the taser and he recreates a thing from my favorite video game, Siphon Filter, where you could just taser someone until they like
That's
ignite.
a fun scene.
So yeah, he kills the cops, and then what's his face goes go
Go, Buffalo.
So my friend Cecil, we did a commentary track, and the topic of deleted scenes came up, and how sometimes there's like leftover stuff, and apparently that's
the mascot for the school.
yes, it's
Yeah.
a callback because those guys were mascots, right? Yes, but
Yeah.
that was like cut out of the movie.
And also like because you don't know, like it's never also referenced what the school mascot is.
Yeah.
But I always just assumed
Yeah.
that it was the school mascot, and then I'm pretty sure in just commentary tracks they mentioned it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what
But
it
yeah,
is.
he said like that there's movies, and I talk about this when I do like work print videos and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It is funny how sometimes scenes will get deleted, but then there'll be like remnants of them in
Yeah.
the final product. Because my friend Cecil, he's like, I was always confused why he went go Buffalo.
It's a funny line. Like,
It's a funny line, but you don't know like what it refers to or
Yeah.
where it comes from. So yeah, Anton finally I mean, Ash figured this out pretty quick, but
Oh, yeah.
Anton, it took him a while. 'cause
Yeah, it
he's
took
kinda-
him a little bit.
He's
He's
a
a
bigger
little slow.
idiot than Ash, to be
Yeah.
honest. He's like, I'm gonna cut off my hand.
So he takes the bagel guillotine.
Yeah, they're like, that doesn't even cut my bagels, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, it's shit. And
This part was in the trailer with Seth Green going, I'm Leatherface.
look at me, I'm Leatherface. I quote that all the time. I love that.
Then he just gets the meat
And then it
cleaver.
unplugs.
Yeah. I love he gets Penub to bite down on his hand to keep it still.
Or like before that, he turns his head around. And he's like, I can't look.
Oh yeah, he turns his head.
Yeah, Devin saw what you, during with the meat cleaver. That was a real meat cleaver. He
Oh,
didn't want to
really?
use the rubber one. Yeah, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
God, I'm sure the insurance guy was
I
like,
know.
like, can you give him the fake one and just not tell him?
Just not tell him.
So he finally cuts off his hand, and then this is the ER scene where he gets the iron and
He looks
burns
so
it.
happy carrying the iron. I just love how he's so happy with it. And he's like, yeah, I saw you got a cauterizer. I saw it in the ER.
So he realizes he's like, okay, we need to get you antiseptic. We'll be back.
Yeah.
And then Anton, he sees that the hand left the thing going like, bad move, Anton.
Yeah, bad
and he's like,
move,
oh
Anton.
no,
Oh,
I
shit.
fucked up. He finds the hand
Yep.
because Molly's showing up. And she's like, Molly, because they agreed to go to the dance
And
together.
Molly looks sexy.
Holy shit, yes.
Yeah.
She's an angel. So she's like, why don't you answer the door? He's so weird, and she just doesn't understand.
Yeah, she's kind of fucking dumb.
So yeah, he puts the hand in the microwave, blows it up basically, melts
It's so
it.
gross. It's really
so
icky.
gross.
I believe in I don't think it's Resident Evil, but I know there's an Easter egg in a video game where that scene is referenced.
Oh, really?
It might not be Resident Evil, but I feel like someone watches this, they will know the
What do
Easter
you know
egg.
about Resident Evil?
It's either Resident Evil or it's another video game, but I
Okay.
know that there is an Easter egg where there is a microwave and there's a hand in there. And like it is a direct reference
I will
to
look
that movie.
for. Actually, that sounds like something that might have been in Resident Evil 7. To be honest,
It's not 7.
it's not 7.
No, because I religiously played 7.
Okay, never mind. I was wrong. I thought I knew video games.
I like how I don't know it, but I know that it's not in Resident
I
Evil
will.
7.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know what the game
But it's
is.
not RE7.
It's like it's not Resident Evil 7. Like, okay, is it Yoshi's Island? Is that the movie? Is it Bomberman 64?
Bomberman 64.
Let's think. What video game could it be? Jumper Griffin Story was a reference in Jumper
Candy Crush? I don't know.
Candy Crush. Anyway. So he's like, "What's your costume?" He's like, "Oh, severed hand guy."
A guy cut off his arm and he's like fucking Target bag like wrapped around it.
Yeah.
It's like a Target bag, yeah. She like goes to touch it and he's like, no, please don't touch it.
Oh, yeah. So then they go to the dance. Mick and Penub come back and they let the hand out and they're not too concerned about
Nah,
it.
I don't give a shit, but they got burritos though.
Yeah, they're like, oh, whatever, burritos. Like, they are so not really.
Nah.
They choose to care when it's convenient for them, I guess.
Yeah.
But then we finally cut back to the Debbie plot, which I feel like they took a really long break
Oh yeah,
from the
because
Debbie plot.
she's at the bowling alley, which is
Yeah.
the same bowling alley that with the Big Lebowski was filmed at.
Oh,
Same exact one.
we should do the Big Lebowski at some point.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And I didn't realize. I forgot they did like quasi sequels to that. They did like the movie about the Jesus.
Have you seen those? I haven't.
I haven't seen them.
Yeah.
I haven't seen them. Maybe I'll finally watch them. I do love Lebowski.
But yeah, that's the same exact one.
Yeah, but I like that Debbie, like, because again, this feels like a writing thing. Like, it's lazy writing, but it's on purpose.
Yeah.
I feel like it's really funny. They're like, what if she just gave him every detail she needs to know right now? And he's like, what's your story? And she's like, I come from a long line of druids and blah, blah,
It's
blah,
so
blah, blah.
funny.
And he's like, oh, cool, I know a guy.
He's like, oh yeah, I know a guy. Of
He
course you
doesn't
do.
question it at all. He's like, my friend said he had a messed up hand. She's like, take me to him.
So funny. Like it's really, I think they act it just right. Like they
Yeah.
know what type of movie they're in and
Yeah.
they sell it and I love it.
So yeah, they decide they're going to hunt him down.
Yep.
Anton, I think he figures out that the hand wants to kill Molly, right?
Yes, because he it's like on his fence or something, but it says she's mine.
Right.
He's like, oh no, it's coming after Molly.
So he tells her he'll meet her later. And he tries to convince his friends, like, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to save him. And they don't want to do it. And they only agree to help him with this because they just don't. He's about to do a speech.
Veg out, I watch TV, I smoke pot. No Kevin Costner speeches, all right? Let's just go.
So I forgot that Seth Green is annoyed with Pinub's head, and he decides to fix it.
Oh yeah. So he takes like a skewer, like
Yeah.
a pitchfork or some type of it's like a skewer, and he like puts it through his head. It's really well done. It's kind of icky.
Yeah.
The sound, the ADR during the scene is ugh,
Yeah.
gross.
But then he eats the burrito finally.
Yeah, so he sticks the head back on his body, and then they microwave burrito. He eats it, and I'm pretty sure in the commentary track it was like applesauce, like cinnamon applesauce, but it looks disgusting.
Yeah.
He eats it, and Seth Green was like, "You have the first one. I want to see something," and he just watches, and it just comes out of his neck. It's fucking gross.
So he duct tapes the neck together.
And he's like, I can fix that, and he duct tapes it and everything. And
I like that for the rest of the
totally
movie.
fixed
He's
it.
doing the Michael Keaton Batman thing.
Oh yeah,
He's just like,
I mean,
hey, what's
he's
up?
committed. He's committed.
I love he never actually turns to anyone. He just kind of does this. He's like, yeah.
I mean, hey, it works. He's committed.
So then they decide
Yes.
to go to the dance and help him because they don't feel like hearing him do a speech. Because he's about to do a speech about how he needs to better himself. And they're like, no, let's
He's
just
like,
fucking
I'm not.
go.
Yeah, don't fucking. We literally do not care.
This might have been more inspirational to me. Because like some stuff I've written, it kind of makes fun of scenes like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, I must have taken a lot from Seth Green in this. They almost killed Debbie. They back up on her.
She flies. So
flies.
far. Like, it's oh my god.
Yeah.
And then I just call him Jack Noseworthy. I can't remember.
Randy.
It's okay.
Yeah, he gives her mouth to mouth to wake her up.
What, the way that he looks.
Yeah, he's like,
He goes like, and then I'm like he's so weird about it. But then he's really more concerned about his Ford.
yeah.
He's really
he's mad
upset.
because they steal the Ford from him.
Yes, they steal his baby.
Yeah. We forgot to mention he had 2 friends at the bowling alley who exist because they're about to get killed in the next scene.
Yes, and they're in like full kiss makeup.
Yeah, he's like, don't you guys have to go to the dance? So they're in the
Dance?
kiss makeup, and I have a very important note here. It's all caps, boobs.
Boobs, yes. Oh, the boobs are great.
Which I forgot, like that they had like that level of nudity in this.
Oh yeah. And also on the commentary track, the boobs are natural. Woo!
So they say. Also, this girl's this is a world where everyone's oblivious. She doesn't notice that 3 hands are rubbing her.
Like they roll down the window because it's getting hot and her makeup's melting off.
Mm-hmm.
And then the hand crawls up.
Yeah.
And
again, she doesn't notice there's 3 hands.
And she's like, scary.
Yeah.
And then it like chokes her, and then the guy it like slams, and then like the hand slams his head against the car window, and then he just like explodes into jam.
Yes, and then they show up, and I think they see the aftermath of it.
Yeah, they like open the car door, and he like falls out or whatever.
So yeah, I have it here. The Halloween party looks awesome.
Oh yes.
Way
So
cooler
fun.
than the Buffy party at the end. And Jessica Alba's dance is less awesome. She's got like a weird dance
Oh, I
going on.
like it. She's like doing some type of like goth like. She'd fit right in at like a goth club.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
I love that Anton is searching for the hand. The guys end up just dancing.
Yeah.
Because the one, Penub thinks he's going to get it on with Tanya, the devil. He thinks he's got a chance with her.
And also the Offspring are there.
Yes, the Offspring are hanging out there.
Singing
And then,
a cover by the Ramones. The song
I want to be sedated.
Yes, by
Yes.
the Ramones, which is a great song.
It is.
Love that song.
And then for some reason, the principal decides the best time to call a sex hotline is at the school dance in your office at night.
Yeah, the best time to get off is when kids are in the cafeteria.
Yeah. And I love at first you don't know what he's doing. He's like, I want to call your supervisor. Of course my card works. And then he's like, okay, it worked. Okay. Then he's like, what's up, baby?
I know, it's really weird.
And another one, he's like, I feel like I can feel you. He's like, it's like I can feel you touching me. It's like you. I'm like, I'd be like, oh my God, there's something on my leg.
No, literally, I'm like, the fuck is touching me? But yeah, the hand starts crawling up his leg, and he's
Yeah.
like, oh, I can feel you touching me.
Rips his
and
dick
then
off.
And then, grab his dick and twist it. That's all I can think about when I that video. But yeah, the hand grabs him
And then this is when it files its
that's
nails
when it files.
in the sharpener.
Which I love that scene. I
Yeah.
think it's really creative, and it looks nasty. Like, it's gross. Like, the hand is icky. Like, it's gross. I like it. But yeah, it files its nails.
And then Debbie shows up and confronts Anton. Because she doesn't know the hand's gone yet. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing. So she's been holding this book the whole time. And you're like, oh, I wonder what the exorcism's going to be. And the book just holds a dagger. She's like, okay, I got to kill you. Die.
It just goes, die.
It's like, I have to
so
kill those.
funny. And I just love that it's just a book that just holds a knife. It's so funny.
You were expecting some big kind of
the Necronomicon.
Yeah.
Nah, it's just a knife, dude. It's so funny.
So they realize that the hand's gone. They need to work together to find it.
Yep. And then Jack is like, "You have a girlfriend?"
Yeah.
Like that's what he. I wrote. This was. Where is it? Oh, I love this line that Randy says. You evil hosting fuckstick.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
So the rest of this movie apparently takes place in 6 minutes, and I think it's way longer than 6 minutes. Because they're like, we have because
like canonically or like actually, like.
No, it's in the movie. It's supposed to be in 6 minutes, but I feel like the runtime is longer than 6 minutes.
Okay, that's what because I'm like runtime.
Because they say it's gonna try and take a soul to hell.
Oh, but because it's in like druid time
at midnight,
or some shit.
And it's like, okay, we got a few hours. And he goes, no, druid time. That's 6 minutes from now. And I'm like, I would have said like 12 or something because it does not feel like 6 minutes.
Oh hell no! It feels like an
maybe
hour.
we're wrong. I'll look at the time and see if we're right. Maybe this whole rest of the movie is in 6 minutes.
I don't know.
The hand goes full carry and just kills
yeah.
people. It rips a guy's like scalp off.
Oh yeah, the lead singer of The Offspring gets scalped.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
And it's just trying to get to Molly. And they decide to escape in the vent system, which the vents in these movies are always so big.
Yeah, the vents are huge.
Look, I don't know why that fan was there and why it looks like that. I don't know. I wouldn't trust the shoe in that fan.
Also, like that. I mean, that's like a Party City costume. Like those
Yeah.
are Party City heels, right? Like,
And why wouldn't you put like the other shoe in there to stop it?
I will say, like it was kind of like it's an innovative idea. Like,
Yeah.
It's smart. Like okay. Like I get it. But,
And it almost works. Like Jessica Alba gets out. Tanya's about to get out.
well, she hesitated, so she kind of
She
deserves
did hesitate,
it.
and the hand gets her.
Her
Pulls her
fault.
back into the fan and just splatters her like in
I-
Alien 3.
Yeah. The only thing I wish this kill had more blood.
Yeah, it feels like actually it's bloodier than I remember, but it does feel like they toned down some of the blood
Like
a little
there's
bit.
I don't mean like I don't mean like I want Jessica Alba like covered in blood like
It-
but I like would like a little more.
It feels like there was more and they just trimmed it
like
down.
there's like a tiny like literally the smallest bit like
Mm-hmm.
she gets shredded by a industrial fan.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of blood.
Yeah, and then
But when you see the aftermath, there's a lot of blood.
there is,
There's
and
the remains of Tanya.
which got Pinup and Mick
You wanna
find
go
it.
back and get a piece?
Yeah, and he's like, I'm gonna get a piece.
I don't want to go back. I don't want to go through all this Tanya.
Anton almost gets the hand, who's now in a puppet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which is really creepy. But the boys stop him on accident because they fall out of the ceiling.
Oh, he's like, "Who's your daddy now?" And then they, yeah. Oh, the school set is some of the rooms. I think the art room is also the same set from Party of Five.
I haven't watched Party of Five.
Isn't
since it
Nev
aired.
Campbell in that?
And Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yeah.
And Jennifer Love Hewitt got a spin-off show that I think only lasted one season.
Yeah, just something from the commentary track.
There you go. Where are my Party of Five fans at?
Yeah.
I want to get me peas in the chat if you're a Party of Five fan.
Oh, okay.
So eventually the hand gets Molly on a car, on a lift. And it's going to crush her into a pentagram, and I guess that'll get her soul or something.
Yeah, it's like yeah.
Yes. And the dudes are fighting with the hand, which again is still wearing a puppet. It hasn't let go of the
This
puppet
puppet's
yet.
hilarious, by the way.
And the puppet's face can change expressions, which
So
doesn't make
funny.
sense. But yeah, so they decide they need to get high
Mighty Joe Bong.
to get strength. And I do like that they ripped Jessica Alba's outfit off.
Oh yeah, because in the test screening,
Yeah.
everyone's like majority of the like the request was my favorite part was the titty part. That is what they said.
Yeah.
Like, that's the quote. So they like people requested like more Jessica Alba. Like,
I would have done the same thing.
and I completely agree.
And not like in Machete, where she was wearing underwear and they digitally put skin on her. No.
That's
Yeah. Anyway, they end up getting the hand high, which doesn't.
And she's like,
Mate.
I'm dying. You're getting stoned with your friends. She's so offended. She's like, oh.
It doesn't make sense. It also doesn't make sense that the puppet's eyes go bloodshot.
She's like, now you're taking Anton time. It's so funny though.
It's really funny.
It's so funny. And this
So yeah,
so funny.
they think everything's good now, and then the hand
like
jumps
rolls over. It's like it.
Yeah.
It, like the hand like
The hand jumps at them. Debbie comes in with the dagger. It hits Seth Green, and then the hand just wiggles a little bit and just poofs. And then Seth Green points out, it's like,
No explosions, no hellfire, no.
and then Debbie goes, okay, now I have to have ritual sex.
Yeah, now it's time for the ritual sex, and he's like, okay, cool. But I believe Seth Green's line is a reference to the OG ending. Because the ending is the original ending was set in the school pool.
Okay.
And it was like it's been recorded. Like it's cool. Yeah, you should see the original ending. It's sick.
Okay.
It's like it's hellfire. It's the pits of hell open up at the pool. It's insane. Like they're on a diving board.
Yeah.
Like they're like the hand is like cornering them off the diving board.
Okay.
Like it's kind of like insane.
Why didn't they use that?
I don't remember. Like I genuinely don't remember.
Okay.
What the reasoning was behind why they
Like,
didn't
were
use
the
that?
effects not finished? Is this a Blade scenario where, I don't know if you've watched our Blade episode,
yeah.
where the original ending of Blade looked like shit?
I mean the effects aren't finished on the scene, but like a lot of them are.
Okay, I can see where, like, maybe if the budget's running out, they're like, we gotta.
It might have been that. I genuinely don't remember.
But by the way, I think this is way funnier.
Oh, it's hilarious.
This is a way better ending
hilarious.
that it just poofs.
But
and they're
that
like,
line, I believe, is a reference to the original ending. So
Okay.
there's that.
So then, they accidentally kill Anton. They crush him.
They crush him.
Yeah.
He was like, that was supposed to come down a lot slower.
Yeah,
and then
that
it
is
comes
not
up
on me.
so slowly.
Yeah, it moved up so slow, and then it came down crashing.
So funny.
But then they decide to go to heaven.
You coming, Anton?
Yeah, they ask Anton if he wants to come. And then flash forward, Anton decided to stay. He's in a full body cast.
And then he has sexy
Yeah.
Jessica Alba in a little dress, feeding him
Yes.
applesauce, living the best life.
And I love that they think he's going crazy because he's seeing Mick and Penub as angels. And by the way, the shittiest angels, like they went to Party City and got the little kid angel wings.
And then,
They're
like
"We're
in the
your guard."
background, there's Santa Rhea by Sublime playing.
Yeah.
Doo-doo.
And they're like, we're here to make sure you don't go back to your slacker ways. And because that was we forgot to mention, he was so lazy and the hand
Can only
looks-
possess the laziest
Yeah.
of hosts. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So.
So they're like, okay, so she leaves and they're like, hey, we're going to go do something. And then, of course, he looks up at the ceiling and it says, I'm under your bed.
Yeah.
And it turns out that they did it and they're just being dicks to him.
And then they're walking off and they're like, you want to go walk through a nurse?
Yeah.
And it's just, and then the Ramones play again.
And then the movie ends and it is a good time. Like,
love it. It's so
one of
fun.
those, like, now that I've rewatched it, I'm like, I want to watch this more often.
It's fun.
This is a fun, like, put it on the background movie. Something interesting is always happening. Something funny is always happening.
I love showing it to people.
Yeah.
It always gets, I mean, I always laugh at this movie.
Yeah.
If I'm in a bad mood. Like, it's just, it's fun.
And like I said, I forgot most of the movie.
Yeah.
And then as soon as I put it on, it all came back to me.
Yeah, I always
And I'm
get
like,
a good laugh.
Yeah.
And the music is great.
And it's really clever. It's really and like I said, it creatively finds ways to be lazy.
Oh, yeah.
Like the lazy writing, the
And it works.
plot contrivances. It's like they're doing this on purpose just to
Exactly.
be funny.
great.
Yeah, and I had a really, really great time revisiting this.
Same.
You have any final thoughts?
I said all of my thoughts. I just was really happy to talk about this movie because I love it.
I wish I knew more about the behind the scenes. Maybe I'll pray to the devil and sell my soul to get an interview with the director. Oh my God, Sarah, it's now weeks later. And my deal with the devil worked. We have the director of Idle Hands here. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Rodman Flender, and you made a deal with the devil to get me? You wasted your deal with the devil, dude. I mean, it was just,
Should I have asked for something bigger than an interview with the director of Idle Hands? Like, should I have tried to conquer a country or get wealth?
yeah. I mean, do you have like an ingrown toenail that you could have taken care of? You know, I mean, there are about 1 billion other things you could have done. I mean, and now your soul belongs to what? Beelzebub for all eternity, right? So
Yes.
you
You
lose.
know what? I think it's worth it. Worth it.
Well, I hope so. I hope I can make it worth it. I hope.
So you are Rodman
I am Rodman. That's me.
You
Flender.
never introduced I said introduce yourself, and you made fun of me for the
Oh,
devil.
did I? I thought I did. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yes, I'm Rodman Flender. Rodman Flender directed Idle Hands, among many other things.
Nice.
That's me.
Okay, so yeah, we have some very important questions about this film. My first question is, how did you get attached to the project?
Idle Hands had been in development, and it actually had a couple of directors before me. There were two that I know of before me, and you know, it's a peculiar movie with a peculiar tone, and no one could really sort of come to an agreement, I guess, on what that tone was going to be. Some people still can't come to it. Some people still think the tone is not consistent. I don't know, but I pitched a take, which the execs at Columbia Pictures seemed to like, and they let me do it. I had also, because they had creative differences with the previous director, and it was. You know, the train had just about left the station. Devon had already been cast, and I think they needed someone who had proven he could work quickly. And having done, you know, I came from the Roger Corman school. Roger was my mentor, and having produced and directed movies in 15 days, and also having done television, you know, the OC and other kind of teenage themed shows that have a very tight schedule, 6-7 days. I had proven that I could work very quickly and efficiently and on time and on budget. So they took a chance, and there you go.
Yeah, I guess, Sarah, do you want to ask your question here? I guess we'll go down the line, the questions you had.
Yeah, sure. So, this was a question that I was super excited to ask you about, because the first time I ever watched it, I immediately thought of this. So, the lighting in the movie, I absolutely love. And I'm also a huge Dario Argento fan. Love Suspiria, love that movie. And correct me if I'm wrong, but when I was watching listening to the commentary track that you guys do over the film, you had mentioned that a lot of the lighting was inspired by Dario and Suspiria, and even, I believe, one of the kills, or I believe when Mick gets the glass bottle. Yeah,
the one you have is plastic.
The one I used is plastic. Yeah, the glass bottle.
It was plastic. It was plastic.
Oh, you heard it here, folks. They
plastic.
didn't shove a glass bottle into Seth Green's head.
Was like I believe was like a shot for shot reference to like Tenebrae, but I mean that's just from what I remember hearing. I found it really interesting that a horror comedy took inspiration from Dario Argento, and I just kind of wanted to hear you talk about your influence from him and his movies, and what made you decide to put some of that into this movie, even though it's like a horror comedy.
How much time do you have? Argento is a huge influence, and I guess that maybe speaks to my approach to comedy, which is you kind of have to take it seriously, even though it's comedy, if that makes sense. Like an example I give when I've taught this is like the Marx Brothers, right? I don't know if you guys have seen any old Marx Brothers movies, but when, you know, Groucho is doing his shtick and everyone around him is horrified, it's hilarious. Mm-hmm. When Harpo is doing his shtick and people are like laughing at him, I never found that as funny, because they're acknowledging within the movie that it's a joke. So I think whenever I do comedy, I always, you know, my direction to the actors is always, you know, you have to play this as if it's really happening. I don't want you winking or shticking it up in any way. So my approach to performance was the same as my approach to lighting and camera work and everything else. I mean, this it was a nutty movie and a crazy script, and it had these kills, and, you know, Argento and De Palma, and I mean, there are these are the masters of camera work and shot making. Lucio Fulci's got a few great ones. I mean, the list goes on and on. But basically, I think that speaks to more my personal approach to comedy, which is no one involved in the world of the film should know they're in a comedy, right? The people should think that they're in a horror movie. And Christopher Baffa, my ace DP, who has done hours and hours of TV and great work. I told him, it was sort of also my direction to him. It was like, I want to shoot this like a Dario Argento movie. And we looked at Tenebrae and Suspiria and a few others. So does that answer your question?
It does. It does.
Like I said,
I just kind of wanted to hear you talk about it a little bit more, because the first time I saw it, I immediately was like, I wonder if he's just like Dario Argento fan, because I immediately was seeing the inspiration, and I was very happy to find out that was true. So I just wanted to hear you speak about it a little bit more. So yes.
Oh yeah, very true. And I mean, if you're a physical media collector, we're in a golden age. I remember I have a poster of it somewhere. My first copy of Tenebrae was a very ugly looking VHS called Unsane. It didn't even have the Tenebrae title on it, and it was cut up and bad. But now, you've got 8 different beautiful Blu-rays to choose from, with the Italian version, the American version, whatever, the version that was sent into space. It's a fantastic time. Yeah.
I like physical media. I don't know if you noticed the store back here with all the tapes and whatnot.
I have to check out. I have to see if you have any of my movies. Although I learned early on that as a director, never ask for your movies in a video store. My wife and I had honeymooned in Ireland, and many years ago, and I had just done my very first movie for Roger Corman. It was called The Unborn. Had a European home video distribution. So I found this video store in Dublin, and I went in, and I didn't say who I was, and I just said, "Do you happen to have a movie called The Unborn?" And I apologize to all the Irish people because I'm going to mutilate the accent, but I remember the woman looked at me and she said, "Oh, we had it, but we sent it back. It was rubbish."
Oh my gosh.
So Tony, I'm not going to ask if you have The Unborn back there in your store, but
I don't have The Unborn. I think I have the 2009 Unborn somewhere, but but you know what? I'm going to order The Unborn right now.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to have The Unborn. Yes. Eat Brains Love will be there, which I actually watched recently and I really enjoyed. But let's get back to Idle Hands. So you kind of answered the one question. Also, Sarah, thanks for skipping to the very last question instead of the first one. That was great. Didn't throw me off at all.
Sorry.
So this film has gained a cult following over the years. What do you think it is about Idle Hands that resonates with viewers and keeps them coming back to it?
Well, I would ask Sarah that question, since she's the viewer who keeps coming back to it. Sarah, I mean,
Sarah, did you just write a question for yourself? What is that?
No.
I'm just as curious as Tony is. I mean, so Sarah, what is it about the movie that makes you keep coming back?
As a music lover, the soundtrack is banging. I love the soundtrack.
It is pretty good.
I listen to it religiously. I love practical effects, so the makeup is astounding. I'm going to college for special effects currently, so I love it. And I love a good horror comedy stoner movie, and I don't really think there's many of those. So to have one that I like, it's kind of my own little thing, and I very much enjoy it.
Well, that means a lot. And thank you for mentioning the soundtrack as well, because as you can see from these records, the music meant a lot to me. I know some directors just sort of, hire a composer and music supervisor and walk away, but To me, the music is as important as casting or camera work or anything else. It's part of the whole thing. And I think the fact that you're talking about the practical effects, in a CG world that we live in, I do think it's refreshing. And I do hear that a lot. And with the movie that I did, right before the pandemic, Eat Brains Love, I was very insistent to only use practical effects, no CG blood, because blood and fire, they never look good to me, do they? When they're generated.
I get the practical reasons why, because like CGI fire is safer. I get blood; you don't have to clean up as much, but it's better
It never looks
when it
right.
is practical. If you're able to do it practically, it works.
Or if you can't do it practically, rewrite.
Yeah.
Okay.
It all starts on the page. So if you write, okay, the house burns down, but you can't afford real fire, either you figure out another way or do a creative way of shooting it using lighting or
Thank you.
There are many solutions.
Thank you for saying that, because we reviewed a movie this month where I said the same thing, where I was like, this probably sounded good on paper, but you didn't have the budget for it. You should have rewritten this scene. But yeah, you kind of skipped ahead and answered the music question there. You literally answered the next two questions randomly.
Well, I feel like we could go in a little.
Okay, thanks a lot. See you later.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe.
Before this review, I hadn't seen the movie in a really long time. I watched it when I was younger, and I remember liking it. And then I was in a video store in Ireland, and I asked the girl if she had idle hands. She told me it was rubbish, and I was like, "Oh, you know what? It probably wasn't very good." No, I'm kidding. That didn't happen. But no, when I rewatched it for this review, and I'm like, I forgot, one, I remembered pretty much the entire movie, which is rare for a movie I haven't seen in a long time. And then I didn't realize how influential it was, the how you did the whole tongue-in-cheek comedy there, where the characters are kind of saying the obvious stuff. My favorite thing is Vivica A. Fox. She's just exposition lit. It feels like, and we theorized in the episode, probably not true. I felt like they just wrote a character in later on to just explain what's going on so the audience is up to speed. Because all her scenes, she shows up and she's like, we got to do this, and that, and that, and that. Okay, next scene. I kind of like how funny it was that it's just hey, we know this is an exposition scene. We're just giving you a lot of information real quick.
Well, that would be a question for the screenwriters, Terry Hughes and Ron Milbauer, if they said, okay, we need an exposition character. But, hopefully we made it fun, and I think
it is. It is
knocked it out of the park.
Because sometimes there are movies where they're write in a scene for very blatant exposition, and it's kind of annoying because you can tell oh, they probably thought the audience couldn't figure out what's going on. But it's almost so much on the nose in this movie. It's really comical. She's one of my favorite parts.
I have a theory. I have a theory that how in movies now, because we all text. That's the main communication is texting. And now, in so many movies, they depict texting with the bubbles that pop up on the screen, someone in the. So I have a theory. You heard it here first. That texting in movies is what headlines used to be, in old movies from the 30s and 40s. That had the spinning headline, and that would be your exposition. Now it's a text on screen that says, Sara and Tony can't get rid of Rodman Flender or whatever. I don't know. But,
oh my goodness.
It's kind of
so now we have texts for exposition.
It's kind of like how search engines got rid of the microfilm in movies when people used to go to the library with microfilms. Now it's all, which is funny because they did that in Freddy vs. Jason. I'm I think this is the last time a movie used microfilm where people are looking up stuff.
So, horror comedy often relies on timing and tone. How did you work with the cast to ensure that comedic elements and the horror elements were perfectly balanced in the film?
Do you think they're perfectly balanced? I mean, I'm glad you do, because it is. That is a very, very, very tough tightrope to walk. I think it's one of the toughest, and I can count on two fingers what I think the movies that just nail it. Shaun of the Dead, and maybe Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, or something. That's
I have that somewhere.
And Yeah, that,
Yeah.
yeah. So, how did I do it? I just did my best, really. I think it starts with kind of how I answered your question earlier about no one in the movie thinking they're in a comedy. I mean, everyone kind of playing it straight. And, Devin, everything that he does, he is like genuinely terrified in the movie of what's happening to him. He's not, and we had conversations about this because it's physical comedy, and we talked a lot about like the physical comedy of Jim Carrey, for example, which I love Jim Carrey and he's a genius at it, but that approach just wasn't appropriate for it's appropriate for Ace Ventura or The Mask, but not necessarily what I wanted to do with this teenage kid. Also, Jim Carrey was a well-known comic actor, and with Idle Hands, it was very important to me that they, as I said, play it straight or scared. So when Devin is reacting with his possessed hand, he's genuinely terrified, and I asked him to play it that way, and he did. He did it better than I could have imagined. So it all kind of harks back to that, to kind of this my philosophy of sort of playing it straight and letting the humor kind of grow out of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Sorry, speaking of characters that like don't know they're in a comedy or whatnot, Jessica Alba's character, we're just like, wait, is there a deleted scene where like there's a backstory where she got hit on the head or something? Because I'm like, there's a lot of real obvious things happening. Like when he's like clearly choking her, then he ties up his hand, and she's like, "Oh, you're kinky." And I'm like, "Who? What? No, that doesn't make any sense."
I love it. It's so funny.
No, but I love how kind of like out of like she's just like, "Oh, he's just quirky," and I'm like, "No, he's clearly insane."
He's just different.
That was really fun watching the whole time, seeing her character throughout the film, just not really know what's going on until the very end.
Audiences today react to that very different. I mean, it's a movie of its time. You know what I mean? It's a 90s movie, and the 2020 audience, Sarah, I'm glad you're getting a kick out of that because it's just times have changed, and it's questionable whether or not that tone works today. So I'm glad you dig it.
It does, by the way. It does.
I love
it. It's hilarious.
I never get tired of
still
it.
holds up. It still holds up. Let me see here. Oh, getting back to effects, I will say like the few like digital like effects in the film and like the green screen stuff are really, really well done.
They're seamless.
And they really like yeah, when watching it today, like the blade going through his neck and everything, I'm like, wow, that looks better than some movies I've seen recently. So shout out to that. I guess this one, do you have any interesting anecdotes from the set or memorable moments while filming Idle Hands that you'd like to bring up?
Oh my God, it's a while ago. Let me leapfrog back to what you previously said though, about the CG effects.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I don't even think I don't even think they were computer generated. I mean, we used a rig called a motion control rig, which is tied to a computer, which allows you to basically create kind of a moving plate. You do a camera move, and the computer records the move, and then it replicates the move exactly, and then you can sort of paint out whatever. And obviously, we did that with the scenes of the crawling hand, where it may even be on the Blu-ray or the DVD. We had obviously the entire actor going across the screen, and then we repeated that with the blade in the neck. Everything, nothing was purely computer generated, right? Everything was tied into something practical. So I don't remember the specifics, but for example, I mean, how I would do that, if someone's getting their throat cut or something, we would have an actual prosthetic, a piece of makeup, Sarah, that we would film and then would use camera tricks. And we didn't really have computer graphics, but we would use green screen or whatever we had at the time to, cover the zipper, as it were. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
It's just sort of blend it and erase kind of things you wouldn't want to see. Nothing was purely created in a computer. It was more about, like, either green screen or taking out what you didn't want to see. And I basically gave you that long-winded answer as I tried to think of funny anecdotes from the set of many years ago. Let me come back to that. It's been so
That's like,
long, and I have fond memories of the experience. It was stressful, and but in terms of anecdotes while shooting, oh, you got me there.
that's okay. You don't have to answer.
You know
Just,
what? Okay, here's something. I brought my son. I brought my son to the set. He was 2 or just under 2 years old at the time, and I remember thinking on the prop table was Penub Eldon Henson's decapitated head, and I thought, oh my God, my little boy is going to see that, and he just went up to it and pointed to it and said, "Boo boo." Yep, that's a boo boo. That's a big boo boo.
Speaking
So that's a sweet memory I have.
Speaking of the Eldon head, like the Penub's head, so I saw it out of I saw like a prop photo of it that was like a few years old. Like someone was like selling it or something. But like what like was it like mechanic? Like what was it? Like what, like because there are shots where it's like
there were
like a physical head, and then there's shots where it's like a CGI like face on the head.
Right. We did all of the above, whatever the shot dictated. All of those special effects shots were storyboarded. They were heavily storyboarded, so we knew exactly. I knew exactly how I wanted to shoot it and what I wanted to see, which was instrumental in terms of talking to the editors and the special effects people. And Greg Canham, Academy Award winner, Greg Canham built those heads, and there was a mechanical one that had servos with that the mouth talked, and then other times I think we obviously used those in the wider shots. It's all coming back to me now as Seth Green is throwing the cheesy poofs into his mouth when he's on the couch. That was a mechanical head. And then when we went for like a closer shot of him talking, and we obviously needed to feature his face, that was again a kind of a primitive face replacement technology. So it was a little of everything.
Okay, cool, interesting.
nice.
Oh, here's a funny story. Okay, so one of the cops, after I'm trying to remember which of the two actors it was, but they get fried. They get fried and pretty bad makeup.
Yeah.
And I remember he told me he drove home on the 405 freeway, for those of you who know Los Angeles, bumper to bumper in full makeup. And I think he had a convertible and would just like went to the people like who would pull up next to him.
Oh my goodness, I can.
Bad day. Yeah.
I felt that. I had to drive home after a convention with like full face makeup. I had the bottle in my head, and I had to get gas in that one time too.
Oh, that's great.
I lived in a small town. So,
I've done that.
Fantastic.
I've done that a couple times where it's just like it's easier just to keep the costume on, keep the makeup on.
Yeah.
What scene or moment in Idle Hands are you particularly proud of? And what made it special or challenging to create that?
I should have watched the movie right before doing this podcast, because I did see it last year. You're in Pennsylvania, Tony. The Mahoning Drive-In showed it.
Yeah, I go to the Mahoning a lot,
ago.
actually.
Yeah, so shout out to the Mahoning. And I did go and see it at the drive-in, and it was really just rewarding to see what scenes still worked and what scenes played. You know what? I guess first of all the performances, just delighted with the performances. The three guys are just fantastic. I think maybe the finger sharpening in the pencil sharpener was a gag we'd come up with and tried to figure out how to do, and it was tricky. And I think that because I really like pencils, so I think that have props standing by. I think that turned out really well. That's something I'm really proud of how that turned out. You know what? I'm just so delighted that decades later, you guys are talking about it and you're fans of it. And Sarah, you're dressing up as a character. I mean, I can't tell you how much that means to me, because it's, I've talked about this far too much, but it had a very troubled release upon its release, and it got kind of swept up into this whole kind of political shitstorm with the terrible school shooting at Columbine.
Yeah, we mentioned that in the review, because I remember earlier in the review, I talked about how, like, when I was younger and like when I was a kid at the time, like, I remember seeing advertisements for this, like, before the movie came out, like, everywhere, and then it just kind of like disappeared, and then I just happened to find it on cable the one night, like a few years later. But yeah, I remember it being like super advertised and then just gone.
And then it was gone. Yeah.
You weren't the only movie affected by that, by the way. Because I know, like, Scream 3 had to do like a ton of rewrites after that whole thing. Yeah.
No, that still happens. I mean, and my heart always goes out to people who are affected by things in the news, because out of their control, thousands of people, hundreds of people, work very hard on these movies. And yeah, they kind of swept the release of Idle Hands under the carpet. And I guess it's a good thing they did, because look, there have been no more shootings since 1999, right? I mean,
not that I know. I don't watch the news, so I'm out of the loop.
But anyway, because that was such a difficult and painful experience, and I kind of moved on very quickly after that. The fact that, like I said, all these years later, they're showing it at the Mahoning, and they showed it also this year at the New Beverly, Quentin Tarantino's 35 millimeter only theater here in LA. And it pops up, and I can see, Sarah, you've got the beautiful Scream Factory release they put out. That more than any like one particular scene or one thing, the fact that is happening now in 2023, that makes me really happy. That just warms my heart.
One question I had: the fan death, was that originally going to be more gory? Like, were we gonna see her like go into the fan and chunks everywhere?
Like, was there gonna be more blood?
You know what? That was one that I really wanted to play around with sound, and it was kind of one of those ones where I thought, like if I could create something really horrible with sound, what you would create in your mind would be much worse than any meat I would put through a fan. So I thought with it was kind of enough gore that was one I just wanted to leave to your own brutal imagination.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, the aftermath is gory enough. Where he just
what's left of Tanya
everywhere.
I'll have to go back and make sure I listen to that. So now that you've mentioned that, I like to hear the sounds.
Okay, so at the time when we shot the initial part of the review, I had not seen the original ending, and then I watched the original ending today, with your wonderful introduction, by the way, from the DVD.
Oh God. It's just, I mean, if there's one thing I could just scrub. Well, it's of its time.
That was hilarious. I wish more people would do that these days.
My son, who I mentioned earlier, just thinks that's like the funniest thing I've ever done. He just loves to. Anyway, what about it?
Yeah. So I've seen the original ending, and I get it. It's not as like funny as it should be, so I understand why you want to change it. I do. The one gag I really liked is Seth Green and whatnot finally showing up with like all all the football gear and stuff after everything's already like was finished. So I get wanting to like change it and whatnot, but like, how did you come up with like, who came up with the new ending with the puppet, and who also came up with the idea to kind of make fun of the original ending where he's all like, oh, I was expecting demons and everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So where did
Is
that new
my
ending come from? Yeah. Also, what's
is my
going on with
image
your
just
life?
flashing? I don't
Yeah.
know. Just like nothing. This is a what is this program?
StreamYard.
StreamYard. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is how it looked earlier, and nothing has changed in my room. So this is a
Oh
StreamYard
wow.
thing. I don't know.
Well,
Yeah,
awesome.
totally a StreamYard thing.
All right.
That's why I was so surprised it looked so dark earlier.
Yeah.
In terms of the new ending, you know, who wrote what? We certainly, the original screenwriters weighed in, Ron Milbauer and Terry Hughes. And you're really asking me to look. I can't remember where I left my keys. Okay, so so trying to remember who wrote what gag, that's like way beyond my mental capacity right now. Maybe if I
Okay. Well,
drink more of
were
this
you
strong
were
coffee.
you
But
like?
yeah, but we knew the main thing was we knew we wanted it to be funnier. We
Mm,
wanted it to be lighter in tone. And after test screenings, I mean, people just loved the whole weed angle before its time. So, the idea of this crazy bong and the hand getting stoned and the puppet. I mean, we knew that's what the audience liked. That's what they
mm,
reacted to, and that's what we wanted to embrace. Exactly who wrote what? It was, we were all kind of pitching out ideas and
no.
things, and that's where we wound up.
Now, did you know while like shooting that ending that you weren't too thrilled with it, or was it till you saw it like cut together where like everyone decided it needed to be reshot?
You mean the ending in the swimming pool?
Yeah.
Did, well, I thought no, I thought it was great. I mean, again, it's kind of like what I said earlier. A lot of people worked
Mm,
very hard on that ending, which is why I'm glad we got to include it, even in its
yeah.
unfinished state. Um, I think for a movie, especially a movie like Idle Hands, where, like I said, we were really trying to balance that tightrope of comedy and horror. An audience can really tell you a lot. Um, these test screenings are, among the most horrible, terrifying things a director can experience. But it's important to really see what works and see what doesn't. It's funny. Somewhere here I still have the audience comment cards, because there was one comment that said, "What was your favorite scene in the movie?" And the comment was the titty part. And then the next question was,
I think I mentioned that
the next question
in the
was,
because I heard that somewhere, and I thought that was so funny.
yeah, I still have it. And then the follow-up question, what was your least favorite part of the movie? The part without the titties, is what the young man wrote. So when you get to the minutia
What
of
a
that, you
genius!
got to
You
kind of
guys should
take
have
that.
found that guy and
Yeah,
had him watch every movie.
Oh my god,
yeah.
love that.
Maybe it was Jim Wynorski. I don't know, but it's a Jim Wynorski joke.
That's so funny.
I love Jim. But no, but my point is, you can really tell, just sitting in a room with people, when people are fidgeting, people are going to the bathroom, or when people are really engaged and locked into a movie. And if you've got 300 people watching something and all 300 say, the ending felt like a different movie, maybe you should listen to that, and
Mm,
I did, and luckily, after hearing that very specific thing, and then shooting the new ending, and then testing it again, and seeing, no one said that, with the new ending, and the scores were higher, and people seemed to like it. It's like, okay, well, that speaks for itself.
mm.
So it wasn't a question of like while shooting it. It was more a question of seeing, what works, and that goes for. I think it's very hard to write a screenplay without showing it to some trusted people who will tell you what stinks about it. You don't want to show a screenplay or a movie to anyone who just says, "Oh, it's great, I love it, you did great." You really want to get constructive criticism, and that's what we got. So it was less about, in the moment thinking, okay, this doesn't really work, and more, in the moment shooting it, thinking, wow, this is the big epic ending that this movie needs, and then realizing, when you cut it all together, the movie doesn't need a big epic ending. It needs something funny and something, because the characters were so strong. I'm glad we really got to kind of, focus on characters and not just special effects. I mean, that ending is really special effects heavy. So I'm glad the way it turned out. I mean, I think it's the best of both
ending,
worlds because
the ending
you
is
can
hilarious.
see the original ending.
Yeah, no, I love the way the movie ends. I love that it's just Seth Green being like, "Oh, that's it? Oh, okay. I thought it'd be a little bit more." And then Vivica A. Fox, it's like, "Oh, by the way, we have to have ritualistic sex." It just comes out of nowhere. It's almost funny like how much it's trying to wrap things up quickly. They're like, "Okay, the movie's done. Let's just wrap this all up."
And that's Jack Noseworthy.
Love
Shout out
him.
to Jack Noseworthy.
Yeah.
He's great.
He's with Vivica there.
But yeah, I guess those are my questions about Idle Hands. I do have a few extra questions, but Sarah, do you have anything about Idle Hands you want to say? Or any questions you want? Last questions?
Trying to think. Oh, quick question for the music wise. I know y'all have Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue on there. It's a great song. I love it. It's like I know we had mentioned this in the review, it's like in the movie like 7 or 8 times. Were y'all like? I'm just curious. Were y'all
Did you just really like that song?
or were the rights like? Was it just hard to get that song, or were you guys just really excited to have that? Because it's a great song. Every time I hear it, I'm like, it just cracks me up.
Well, that was sort of Jack Noseworthy's theme, right? I think we used it every time he shows up, right? It's kind of like when he shows up, they shout at the devil. So, it was that was kind of
that was his
the
thing.
gag.
Gotcha.
That song. Well, yeah, it's his theme. It kind of what is
That's
going
so
on?
weird.
I have no idea.
Thing?
I'm sorry.
Disco. I'm not. This is some
I'll
bizarre.
I'll add disco
StreamYard
music.
thing.
It'll make total sense. I'll see a lot of times, like after it's done recording, sometimes like when it processes the video, little things like that doesn't show up. I'm sorry. That's never happened
Very
before.
odd.
Hey, look, as long as it doesn't switch our microphones, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, the Shout at the Devil thing was pretty good. I have a couple questions outside of Idle Hands, if you don't mind. Well, one, here's a compliment. Great job on Leprechaun 2. You really nailed it with that one. I actually love the Leprechaun movies. Every St. Patrick's Day, I've been reviewing a Leprechaun movie. And I think when I was still on Cinemassacre, we did part 2 over there. There was like a smaller video. Okay, so, there are famous film trilogies that people get to be a part of. And I'm looking here. You were 3 different characters in the Carnosaur trilogy, and I've never been more jealous of someone in my entire life. Can you just tell me something about the Carnosaur trilogy? Because I grew up watching those movies and loving them.
So the Carnosaur movies were made at Concord New Horizons, Roger Corman's company, and I was head of production at the time. I think I was head of production at the time of the first 2, and I think the third one, obviously, I think Jonathan Winfrey directed that one. He was kind of the in-house production manager who then went on to direct. We were buddies, and I kind of knew all the directors. Adam Simon, who directed Carnosaur 1, Adam Simon and I actually went to college together, and he and I did back-to-back audio commentaries on his movie Brain Dead. I interviewed him for his movie Brain Dead on that audio commentary, and he interviewed me on my movie The Unborn. And in true Roger Corman fashion, we were able to get 2 audio commentaries with 1 studio booking. So that was Carnosaur 1. Carnosaur 2 was directed by another friend, Louis Morneau, and Louis, if I remember correctly, I think I die pretty early in that, right? Aren't I one of the first few to get killed? So he's very smart.
I am always looking for reasons to rewatch Carnosaur 2, so I will check tonight and let you know.
Waller, that loser, he's probably jerking off.
No, you know what you're saying.
And then
here's
a story about Carnosaur 3. Here's a story about Carnosaur 3. And then with Carnosaur 3, I remember at the time I had really long hair, and I played a military guy. And the director, Jonathan Winfrey, said to me, Rodman, you're in the military, you're going to have to cut your hair. And I said, what, for one day on Carnosaur 3? Are you high? I'm not cutting my hair. Fuck you, I'm not cutting my hair. Figure it out. So he wrote a line in the movie. It's been decades since I've seen it, but I remember he wrote a line where someone says to me, like,
You're not riding in my Jeep with that haircut, son.
Again, so years ago, my parents tried to trick me and came home with Carnosaur 2 and told me it was Jurassic Park 2 because I guess they forgot I knew how to read, and I'm like, this isn't Jurassic Park 2. But I ended up loving the movie. Years later, I'm like, wait, this is just aliens with dinosaurs. No wonder I liked it so much. But yeah, one other thing. You directed an episode of Millennium, and I just want to say that because I love Millennium and no one ever talks about it. So I just want to remind everyone Millennium exists. That was a great show. It exists. It's a great show. And yeah, what else do you have coming up? Like, what are you directing next?
Well, you mentioned Eat Brains Love. I mean, that OCN, the sister distribution company of Vinegar Syndrome, put out a beautiful Blu-ray of that. And in terms of what's next, I'm, if I tipped my computer, my laptop, you'd see the wall that I'm hiding that has all my projects in development on it. What do I have? Okay, so I've got one more. I kind of bounce back and forth between features and documentaries. I did a documentary that got theatrical release about Conan O'Brien on tour. I'm currently working on another documentary about a summer resort in the 1950s that a lot of famous Broadway performers got their start at. So I'm actually shooting that and editing that right now, and then just trying to get eyeballs on other scripts. One I've adapted, one that's kind of in the works, and just looking for people with checkbooks who want to fund my next movie.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, thank you so much for doing this for us.
Yes, thank you.
This was really, really great. I don't know if you're on social, so if you want to plug where we can follow you, you can right now.
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram, Rodman_F, and Letterboxd. And I think I'm just Rodman on Letterboxd.
Okay.
Just Rodman. Like, that's it. Just Rodman.
Just Rodman.
Just Rodman. Gotcha.
All right, cool. Well, thanks for stopping by. Okay,
well, thank you. And again, I really, I mean it. I really do appreciate the ongoing love for this movie. It really does warm my heart. So thank you.
Anyway, Sara, where can we find you besides roaming the streets of Tampa outside of a convention?
So you guys can find me on Instagram. That's where I do most of my professional cosplaying. It's at reanimated.nerd. And it'll be probably right here, I'm assuming.
I mean, we'll see. Oh, I thought you're dropping clips in.
No.
Aren't you the editor now?
Totally.
Take the screenshot of your Instagram, throw it in there.
I'll now be editing.
Good luck.
But that's where, yeah, right.
Especially this one.
But that's where I mostly post all my stuff. And it has all my links to all my other social medias. But that's where I'm most active at.
Like, share, and subscribe. Do all that fun stuff. Join the Patreon. Real quick, I don't know if you guys missed it. I don't know if you missed it. I put the first episode of Bloodline, a Hellraiser show, out for free in October.
Wow, for free.
For free. And if you like it, go check out that episode. If you like it, Patreon has a new thing. They have a shop section.
Oh, wow.
So I put the entire every Hellraiser review into one video, and you can buy it on Patreon without being a member. You can just buy that video. Wow. It's cheaper to become a member and just watch them. But if you're like, I just really want to know what Tony and his cousin have to say about every single goddamn Hellraiser movie.
And his opinions are very important.
And it only costs $8 the twice of X Premium.
Wow.
not Twitter Blue, because we live in the future.
Yeah, it's X.
Yeah, no one says Twitter anymore.
I don't even know what that is.
We're hipping with it. Anyway, that's it from us. Goodbye.
Bye.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other videos and Patreon page.
Talking about tapes.